Hey everybody, if you like Kyokushin, martial arts, K1, make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment on the Drew Experience podcast, available on YouTube and all audio platforms such as Spotify, iTunes, and Google's podcast. Shows brought to you by a few supporters: KRT Tips and Tricks with Senseis Wesley Jensen and Darren Stringer, Kyokushin Shuffle podcast, and Forever the Student ebook by Sensei Pat Pinto, Martial Way blog with Scott Heaney and his Real Talk show with Shian Terry Burkett. And lastly, Moments Management with where Nima Safapur and his team, who manage Gegard MMA fighters such as Gegard Mousasi, Alex Gustafsson, will teach you about the fight game before, during, and after to make sure you leave with the riches and not leaving broke. Moments Management with quality and care comes first. And one more supporter, Shian Cameron Quinn with his book, The Budo Way of Karate, 2nd edition, available online. So make sure to get it. It's the most important book of martial arts for our time if you are a martial arts connoisseur. And tonight's guest, wow, this is an interesting one, guys. So he is a samurai. Like, this guy is a definition of a samurai in every essence, because I met him through my coach, and you could say, I guess you could say, my adopted brother from another mother, Mo. When I met him, you know, I've learned so much from him. His story is really inspiring in terms of like what he's done for himself. And he's a pro kickboxer. He's competed in Kyokushin with Mo. So you're going to get some golden stories from here. I'm thrilled to finally welcome to the show for the first time my boy who's from Quebec but lives in Japan, Tarik. What's up, Tarik?
Hey, man. Thank you for having me. Nice
thank you, man. No, it's a big honor because, like, hopefully you come on, then Mo's gonna watch it and he's gonna want to come on.
Yeah, I guess it's a nice way to get through, you know, to get through Mo by me, right? I mean,
yeah. But we've had some epic conversations like on our Instagram calls, like me, you, and Mo, like on MMA and life. So I was like, you know what, it's like, I gotta get Tarik on the show, and Mo was like, that's a good idea. So yeah, man.
A nice push from. Yeah, I mean, I always enjoy like those conversations we have, especially like during UFC events. I mean, it's just amazing to see like three guys enjoy the moment at the same time, share like some amazing stories. Just think about like all those things we talked about in the Kyokushin, K1, UFC. Yeah, I mean, it's great.
Man, I can't tell you how many times I have the same conversation with Mo and it never gets old. I'm like, tell me about the story about when Tarik and you competed in this tournament. And then he goes on and it's like, it never gets old. It's like those stories are just epic, man. You know, now I get to hear it from you, from your point of view. So Tarik, you know, you're an interesting guy because, you know, you're from Algerian community in the East End is huge. A lot of Moroccans, Tunisians too, especially Algerians, they all go to the East End when they come to Quebec. But you were born in Quebec, obviously, so right?
No, actually, I was born in Algeria, 1990 in Algeria.
Wow.
Yeah. 7 years old, we moved. I don't know, like if you know a bit about like the Algerian history. The 90s were pretty wild. Whoever was in Algeria between like 91 and 98, you know, was going through a lot of things. My parents had to move, obviously, I don't want to say, but for like safety reasons, due to the fact that, you know, we would have, you know, civil wars and terrorism back then. I mean, the real one. I'm not talking about the one you see on TV. I'm talking about the real thing. Like, people were really in danger. Whoever had like a different political view or anything was really in danger back then. And a lot of people actually don't know that about like me. Coming from Algeria, you know, like you see a lot of people just migrating and be like, man, they want a better life. Yeah, we want a better life because we don't want to be, you know, killed. So that was the point of the 90s, and that's why we left. So 97, we got to Quebec, Montreal. Yeah.
That's awesome. And so when you got to Quebec, I mean, what was your earliest memory of martial arts and getting exposed to Canadian culture?
First martial art was actually not Kyokushin. It was judo. So my first martial art was judo due to the fact that my dad is judo he loves judo, and his cousin was a freaking champion. And of course, like, it's crazy to say, but most Algerian dads really like judo. And there's like a kind of pride thing for judo fighters in Algeria. We're kind of not bad. You can see like even in Olympics, except for that time, we kind of like rank well. We have few medals and whatnot. But yeah, it was judo. I remember it was pretty far, so it was like kind of like a pain in the ass for my dad to take me there. but I was not really hooked. It was really slow pace. I was not into it. So I kind of gave up martial arts. I was like, screw that. I just want to play soccer. But my biggest problem is that my best friend at that, well, forever, I don't call him a best friend anymore. He's a brother. Mo, every freaking day was going somewhere around the same time. And I was like, where are you going? He's like, I have to go to karate. And I was like, what the hell is karate? I had no idea what karate was. And like every time I wanted to play soccer, and he was like, I can't, I have to go, I have to go, I have to go. And I was fed up. I was like, dude, I don't want to be alone at that time. I was like, okay. He's like, hey, you know what? Just come for a test. There's like trial lesson and everything. I just go there. Dude, I didn't give a damn about karate. I didn't give a damn about nothing. All I said is like, I want to be with friends. I just went, joined, and that's how it started. It was just because I wanted to be with my friends.
That's so awesome. And tell, okay, how wild was Mo? Because Mo likes to say, he's like, I used to be, he's like, you think I'm bad now with how I bust people's chops. Like, you should have seen me when I was younger. Yeah, he's going to kill me. How bad was he? Because he told me he was like, he used to hit people. Like, he was a hitter.
Yeah, I mean, dude, yeah, you can see that he got wiser with time. I mean, back in the days, it was really wild when we were younger. You really had to beat the hell out of someone. I guess there's one thing you have to understand about Mo and also about me. I didn't do as well as him when it comes to that, but know that one thing is when we were training, we were not training with kids. So that's some of the fighters that you're gonna know, and I'm pretty sure that's same for Ben. I have a lot of respect for Ben Polier, and we did not grow up training with people our age. It wasn't like that. So you would go to classes and train with youngsters like us. But the thing is, whoever wanted to fight, we were training with big adults, huge guys, and there's no point in me trying to look cocky. It was freaking scary, man. It was scary, like that like grown up man just beating the hell out of you and getting satisfaction from it. Weirdly enough. I mean, I keep having those conversations with people, and yeah, so it makes you tough. It makes you like tough and rough. So I guess that's why Mo was such a a killer from a young age. He had to survive. So yeah.
But you and him together, like, it seems like, I mean, you were still standing with the best of the best. And, what do you think that, because it was at Lamar Dojo, what is it that you think that that Shia and Reynald saw in you and Mo that you guys were like kind of the future generation? Like, what do you think it was that you think, in your view?
It's sad. Every time I'm talking about Reynald, it's really
Yeah.
sad. Just hearing his name is kind of rough. But I think I'm glad that we started training with Sylvie, because I guess Sylvie was more into fighting actually than Reynald at that time. So even though Reynald was the real fighter, the kickboxer, the whole team thing was controlled by Sylvie Como at that time. And I remember she was amazing. I mean, when you think about her, she was an amazing coach. The only thing is that the transition from her to Reynald came pretty late. And that reminds me, and the reason why is because I'll talk for myself. I didn't like Reynald when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't. And he was not a bad person. I was a shitty kid. And that's why I didn't like him. Little did I know that he was the guy that I should have been looking, to. And that I just remember we were coming to class and he was so strict about us talking, and I was like, dude, like, let us talk and stuff like that. And I remember he was like cutting our nails whenever we forget to cut our nails. And he was doing it a bit in a rough way, right? And he was like kind of like scolding us. And because of that, kind of like felt like he's not the nice guy the way we were seeing Sylvia at that time. She was like the nice lady. Everybody loved her and everything. But the transition came later when I got a little bit older and realized that he actually really, really cared about us all that time. But he just didn't, not say show it, but he didn't speak it. And he really cared about our well-being. He really cared about our training, and he really cared about us as fighters. And I'll never forget, because there's so many things, man. I mean, there's so, you know, the story is long and is complicated, but
Yeah.
I'll never forget the fact that Ray is the one that took me when I was alone and told me not to give up.
Wow.
Yeah, he's the one who took me when I was alone, when I had no one anymore. And he took me aside, brought me to his gym, and just explained to me that whatever I wanted to do was the right thing to do. That if I thought I was a fighter, my point was to fight no matter where, no matter how, no matter with who, no matter when. It was just his way of thinking. His way of thinking was not to stop people from fighting. His way of thinking was not to like find the perfect fight for you. His thoughts were like, you ready? You train, you fight. You lose or win. Come back the next day, we train, we fight. I mean, after the world championship, the world tournament, what he asked me, so what are you doing now? I'm like, training? He said, yep, that was just before he dies, man. He said, yep, go back to training and just go back to training. So you see, like the things that you think you understand when you're a kid are not really what you should be understanding because you're too young to understand those kind of stuff. But for me, and I'm pretty sure Mo feels the same, Ray is my real and probably my only Xian, if you want to. With no disrespect to anyone, because I love Pierre. You know how I love Pierre Catafal. But Ray, it is what it is, man.
Yeah, it's always like that. You find that one teacher that like just resonates with you. Like it's like that's why it's kind of like that with me and Mo too. Like for example, when I spoke with Xian Pierre, and like Xian Pierre like even said to me one time, he's like, listen, he's like, I don't tell people how to live their life and who to pick as their friends. He's like, but he's like, I think you need to stay friends with Mo. He's like, that's one friendship. He's like, I urge you to keep, no matter what. He's
I
like,
agree with that. You need to like surround yourself with people who are gonna push you upward. Never bring you down.
even my mom, like so like my real cause like I have my stepmom and like my real mom. So my real mom met Mo finally. She's like, and then like she calls and like she told me. And then my real mom says, she's like, girlfriends, they come and go, but real friends, those are hard to come by. So keep them.
Dude, you don't know who you're talking to. Yeah. That's true, man. Your real friends, they'll be there for you no matter when, anytime, and even if you don't see them for years, they'll always be there. It's really sad to say that we can't trust others the same way, but yeah, real friends are there forever.
It's so true. And so when you were coming up, so now Mo's a showdown, and you're like a brown belt or like a green belt or brown belt. Now that we're talking the golden era here, this is like the golden years, like 2005, I would say. Like I think we're talking 2005. Okay, so but 2009 comes. Mo becomes one of the youngest knee dans ever in Quebec. It's very rare, but you were there. So tell me like the tournaments that you guys did together. What was it like when you were competing with him in those tournaments for for getting ready for the nationals or like the Degekis? What was your most memorable tournament in that period?
Growing up with Mo is very special because we always had that dream of fighting together. Mm-hmm. So we always thought, let's meet in finals. And I mean, recently I don't think we're ever going to do it again because I changed weight class, right? So I'm not as heavy as I used to be. But we would always tell each other, and I'm sorry, it's just so emotional, it makes you want to
scream.
No,
I understand.
We would always tell each other, I'll see you in finals, but we never met in finals. And that's not because of him, that was because of me. I suffered from what I believe anxiety. It was my biggest weakness in fighting. I don't know why I was never able to deal with it, but I guess without blaming anyone, that's where a good coach comes in. And sadly, like I said, I don't think I was well surrounded coming up, except from Mo. I mean, all the others mostly were just like come and go people and just disappear, were useless and never cared about what I was going to do or not. And, with all due respect, I understand the fact that Mo was the best and everybody was focusing on him. And even I was always focusing on him. but he's the best. Everybody's focusing on him, but he's focusing on me and others are not. So basically me and Mo are trying to push each other to the top, but I need extra help and no one is giving me that extra help. I don't blame anyone because that's life and it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I am where I wanted to be and that's it. But yeah, it was really the kind of rocky thing, you know, I'll see you in the final, I'll see you in the final. It was always like that. And memorable moments, I was always excited to see him fight. And yeah, you're right, though, that era was amazing and it was a scary era. Like, I know you guys sometimes talk about the current tournaments and stuff like that. If you go back in time, I mean, Kyokushin was really scary. The fights were hard, fighters were strong, and I'm not disrespecting anyone. I'm just being honest. It's just different. And I guess that's why, you know, Mo's level is amazing because he grew up fighting strong guys who wanted his head off, you know. And same thing, you know, like I wish I've done better back then. I wish we met in finals, but I didn't know that I was actually fighting in the wrong weight class. I was trying to be the same as him, a heavyweight, but my body is not meant to be heavyweight. I'm a lighter guy. I'm between middle and lightweight, you know. And because of that, I think I was never able to get through that heavyweight division. Now I can see myself going through that. If we ever do an open, it would be amazing back in Montreal. I mean, definitely I'm going to give an appointment to Mo and meet him in final this time. You know, you never know. It might happen. I hope it happens. Things have changed. But yeah, it was great times, amazing times. You know most of them, right? Justin, Spinetti, Ben. Fucking, those days were amazing, man. I mean, yeah.
He went to LA too. I remember you gave him that motivation where you're like, you're not going to LA to win second or third.
He told you about that. Yeah. He's training camp for LA is one of the sickest training camp we've been through. Even though I was not fighting that year, I was supposed to fight the next year. That year I did not fight in LA, but the training camp was so intense, man. I mean, when I say intense, I literally we left everything aside. Like I was barely doing anything except training. Like I mean it. And we would wake up in the morning, breakfast, training, go back home, lunch, rest, come back, training for young guys. You know, it was really wild. And I remember after all those days, I mean, I remember I got injured and stuff. And at the end of the training camp, I look at him, I said, man, after all we've been through, like after all that training, ain't no effing way you're going there and come back empty-handed. That guy just got fired up. I think with those words, he was like on fire, man. He was ready to kill at that time. And I think that's what he did, because if you know who he fought,
Stoyan
is really a really tough guy. Like you don't see none of, you know, no one's like that. You're probably never gonna meet like that, someone like that, except for Mo back in Montreal. But yeah, it was really great. I mean, I was happy that he made it that time. Yeah, it was a great time.
When you talk about helping him train, you know, as you said, you know, because, you know, let's look at the positive here where he was focusing on you when people were focusing on him. I kind of like to take it to that iron sharpens iron approach. And we see it like with the Dagestanis, like with Habib and his brothers. And I'm going to use an MMA analogy here. But I also think it has to do with some faith and religion here. I do believe in Islam. Like, I mean, I'm not Muslim, but is there like a verse that says like always take care of like your closest one to make them a better human?
It's not about a verse itself. It's just the community level. If you want to get higher, you need to help people. And it's not related to only Muslims, I guess, because a lot of people like tend to like segregate themselves and put themselves in like baskets: Muslim basket, Jew basket,
Christian basket,
Buddhist basket, whatever, you name it. You need to put that aside. You need to understand, like when you love someone first, you don't know what they are or what they believe in and stuff like that. But it's very important to support the people around you, because if you support them, then eventually they'll support you. Don't do it because you're expecting something in return, obviously, but that's just how things work. If you love someone and you try with that person, obviously, what's wrong with you wanting that person to succeed and be, you know, the best at whatever? And it doesn't stop you from trying to be the best too. There's nothing wrong with that. if you look at, Habib and Islam, and, they have mutual respect. So Habib is the best, probably, best ever, and does it mean that Islam cannot be the best too? Does it mean that Zubaira cannot be the best or try to be the best? That mentality is what kind of killed the Quebec Kyokushin, back in the days. You just like focus on one person and everyone else is just there to be there. And that's just dumb. That's just not how you do things. What's the point of having an army of one when you can have an army of like 20?
Exactly.
You're right. Just like focusing on one person. No, you can have like an army of 20, have 20 beasts. And that's why Pierre Catafort's team was amazing back in the days. Because back in the days, we were like Montreal and they were Boucherville.
There was a rivalry, wasn't it?
It was a rivalry. I was not part of it, obviously. I was
No.
not part of it. I was at that time. But I'm just saying that whenever I went to Boucherville, I was always amazed. Because they felt stronger as a team. They always felt better as a team. I'm not saying they were better or not. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Those are the old days. But that's how it felt like. And for the short time that I trained at Catafort, his training methods and his way of doing things are good. He focuses on the whole team, not on one person, not on the best, not on everybody. Because you never know who's going to be the best. That's the thing. You never know who's going to be the best. Could be you tomorrow, could be me the next day, could be anyone, could be the guy that you've never heard of. And you have to focus on everyone. That's why it's called a team. If it's called a team, that's because everybody is part of it. Not just a person or, two guys or two girls. So.
The Bulls didn't win 6 championships because of just MJ. They won
Exactly.
championships because they got the coach, they got the players, and they made that staple of a dynasty. Like every person had a role. Like, and that's where when you make a team, I mean, that's I think the greatest sports documentary.
Yeah, me too. I love it. I watched it like maybe 10 times.
Same here. I don't care. Like I watch it, and whenever I watch it, like even when I'm in meetings, like with like my job I have, like where I work, I always tell them like, guys, like I say, if you want to make a good team, whether it's in martial arts, sports, or business, watch The Last Dance, because you need to figure out, because every person on a team has a skill that is valuable.
Exactly. If you omit someone, that's just you spitting and throwing away a skill. That's not the way to do it. I don't think it's the way to do it. If you want to do it, just grab one guy and train him, in private, but not part of a team. There's no God in, between us. That's not how things work. When
you were in Boucherville for the trainings, who were some of the guys that stood out to you that were of that staple of killers?
As part of Boucherville Dojo or just as a visitor?
I guess when you were there as a visitor, like who stood out to you?
As a visitor, so you're talking about back in the days, dude. Dominique Adam, man. Dominique Adam, man, that guy was scary back in the days. I don't know about, and I don't think he's fighting anymore. But yeah, whoever knows Kyokushin and doesn't say Dominique Adam's name doesn't know Kyokushin. Just talks about it.
There was another few guys as well. I mean, I know there was Mo fought one of them.
Julien Marquette, bro.
There's Julien Marquette, yeah.
Marquette, man. Yeah, Julien Marquette, Thierry Tamsi.
That's the one Mo fought, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm telling you. There's a lot of guys that were dangerous back in the days. That's why, I tell you those names. You don't forget those names, right? Yeah. Domadan, Julien Marquette, and Thierry Tamsi, right? They were like hardcore guys.
That's amazing. So, obviously the golden era, you're competing, you're also trying to build your own name for yourself too, on your own vision. Then eventually you decided to move to Japan, I guess in order to kind of start something new. So what led to wanting to leave Quebec and just writing your own story, moving to a new country, if I may ask?
Yeah, nothing wrong with Quebec. I mean, I don't want to bash on Quebec. I just didn't feel. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not saying it in a way that, screw Quebec because I'm never coming back. Nah, I might come back tomorrow. Who knows? I'm just saying that at that time, and I think still now, there's this feeling, something that I can't understand about Quebec is just when I was younger, it was such a great place to be. When I was a kid, it was such a great place to be. But as growing up, I feel like we're being separated. Everybody's going on his side, like everybody's having his own ways, and I just feel like it's becoming harder to get closer to others. But I might be wrong, because it would be crazy to just like pinpoint a place and say that place is not good. You have to realize that. Look at yourself in the mirror. Maybe you're the one that doesn't fit. So I might be the one who do not fit there. But I wanted to train in a different way. I wanted to experience something different. Get out of that, first of all, comfort zone that was not doing me justice. And I guess the hardest part for someone who's training is to be out of his comfort zone. And that the hardest part is to be far away from others. And actually, that's the thing that makes you stronger, because you realize you have to survive on your own. You have to do everything on your own, and you have to face things on your own. And I don't regret doing that. I mean, I guess that's what made me the person I am today. So I left, about 5 years ago? Yeah, something like that. I guess 5 years ago. And yeah, amazing experience so far, especially in martial arts. Yeah.
And so when you went there, yes, it was for martial arts, but it was also to teach English, right? So
yeah, well, to teach English, I guess that's the common, job for anyone who comes from abroad. Be like, for God's sake. And I mean, nothing wrong with teaching English. It's
a rewarding
job.
experience.
Yeah, a great experience. It's just like as you get older, eventually you kind of get fed up of it. It's kind of different from like teaching in a high school, for example, where you have like a real school experience. Most of the jobs in Japan are not about like teaching in schools, but mostly like teaching in private schools, like cram schools. I think that's the most common English job. And after a while, it kind of like gets heavy on you, right?
It can weigh on you. It's because it's like you're teaching different students, but just the same thing. So it never really changes. And that's like
the students leave, grow up, they change, but you don't see that because everything. Like I remember my history teacher, he says, every year you get a new class. The class doesn't get any older, but you do. Like it's amazing when you think about it, right? As a teacher, like I don't know why we don't give credit to teachers. They deserve way more credits. Like, can you imagine that, man? Every single year you have a new set of kids, right? You don't really see them grow because you have them only for a year. The next year, the next class is going to be about the same age as the previous class. So basically you're getting older every year, but that class is not. Your kids are not. Because you don't see the kids growing up. They're gone. They came at 13. They might leave at 13 or 14. Next year, same thing, 13 or 14. It's a very, very mentally like demanding job.
It really is. And it's not like you can go up to like teach the grade that you just taught because they need you at that age, for that class, because maybe you're specialized in it and you're the only one that can do it. But I was lucky in my case, speaking of history, like where because I loved history. So I had I found that I loved history when I was in Sec 2. And then I had the same teacher because when do you remember the government exam we had to do for Canadian history? So I had the same teacher because she was on the exam committee for Quebec for that Canadian history exam. So to get her again in grade 10 was like, ooh, this is great. But that's very rare. It's extremely rare. But that exam
same thing for me, actually. Same thing for me.
Really?
Yeah, same thing for me. I had like the same teacher twice. Well, actually for 3 classes because he also did history, maybe in geography. I'm not sure, but I'll never forget him. Christian Gilbert. Dude, I mean, that guy was amazing. He was one of the best teachers ever. And I learned a lot from him, not only, school-related things, but also life-related things. And he made it so much easier. So much easier. Because, history is a lot of information. And if it's not delivered by the right person, for God's sake, man.
Oh, that's so true. For me, her name was Linda Handiak, but she wasn't only a history teacher. She was the French teacher that told me, you are going to learn French. And that's where, if you listen to my other interview where I said, because I always said, like, I had teachers tell me he's not going to learn French. He can't learn. You have to get that form from the government to say he's exempted. But my parents like, why would we do that? And then that's when Linda said, we're going to teach you French, but we're going to give you the confidence by giving you simple phrases to use every day. That's how you're going to learn the language. And then as you get better and better and comfortable, more will come. So you always have those teachers, or like that teacher or teachers that just stay with you, and it's like it's nice. It's really nice, like when they impact you that way.
You see those teachers you were talking about who said you cannot make it, that's the kind of people you don't want in your life.
No.
Because that's in general, like that's the, not say the average, that's more than the average people that you're going to be surrounded with in your life. And that's why it's so hard to be successful, because you're always going to have people dragging you down, you know, especially when you're a kid. How can you just pinpoint a kid and just say that person is not going to be able to do this or that? Who the hell are you? Just like just telling someone he can't do it or she can't do it. This is madness. You're in the wrong field. You shouldn't be doing that. If you're teaching, you're not, pulling down someone. You're pushing him for it. And the same thing for karate and Kyokushin, name it, kickboxing. If you're training with someone and someone says that you can't do something, if someone says that you're not ready for something, you take your stuff, because don't forget, it's a business. A lot of people forget that karate and kickboxing, it's a business. That guy who has his school is running a business. You take it politely, you stop your subscription, and you go somewhere else. I'm not saying you people should do that, because a lot of people do that, and it's not a good thing. A lot of people jump dojos, go left and right. That's just not a good sign. And I'm saying it like in front of everybody. I'm not scared of anyone. So I'm just saying that when you see someone just going left, right, left, you have to be careful about that kind of, stuff. But if generally you want your best, you want the best for yourself, you want to do what you really want to do, and someone is trying to stop you, there's nothing obliging you from staying there. You do it respectfully, politely. There's no need to be a D. You just do it respectfully. I don't think we agree on things like that. And that's why I'm taking my stuff somewhere else. Look, just to make it clear, 2015 World Tournament. My dojo did not push me there back in the days. My previous teacher did not push me there. My previous team did not push me there. Okay? That was my dream. We said it. I remember we have a video, man. I don't know if we can find it. It's me, Mo, and someone else. And I remember I said, I'll go to the World Open eventually. That was my goal. I set it in stone. That was like, my goal is to go to the World Open eventually. And as time was like, going, I was like, dude, it's this one. I think it's this one. The next one is the right one. And when I start seeing that people like block me and put, things in front of me, trying to stop me from doing whatever I wanted, that's where I decided that I can't stay with people who don't want my best. And I had to make a move. So you would tell me, oh, like you just said, like leaving might be bad. Yeah, leaving for no right reason because you didn't get like whatever you wanted, that's kind of a D move. But in my case, if I didn't do that move, I would never have been to the World Open, 2015 World Open. I had to do it. I talked to like few people at that time. I talked to Sean Ray. Sean Ray was aware of what happened. So I talked to him and I told him what I wanted. He said, go for it. I went to André Gilbert and I told him that that's where I want to be in 2 years. And that's what's going to happen. He said, go for it. And finally, my training, Xian, the one who helped me alongside Ray, Pierre Catafort, he said, if that's where you want to go, that's where we're going to go. So you have to do it. If you want something, you have to do it. You can't expect people to do it for you, which is obvious, but you can't also expect people to make it easier for you. So you have to find someone who's going to be able to help you. If not, just let it go and go on your own. Do it on your own. You have more chances of succeeding by yourself than with a team or with people that are going to drag you down. So yeah. You do what's good for you. Don't listen to people like trying to bash you, like trying to pull you down, or, it's like I said, with all due respect, at the end of the day, it's a business. It's a business. So do your thing, do yourself. And whenever you find, a good place, stay there and stick to it. That's it.
It's so true. And I love what you said, just to quote like what Francis, the current heavyweight champion, said. He's like, everyone will tell you you cannot do it, but you have to keep going. You did that. Like you left no stones unturned, even when people were trying to drag you down. And, like that's a kudos to you, man. And, it's that 2015 year. What was that like, to get ready for that tournament, for not only for you, but you even went to train with Mo and Xia and Pierre. What did you get from that training when you were getting ready for that?
Um, I I truly believe the 2015 team suffered a lot. Suffered a lot from all of the dojo crap.
Mm.
All of the dojo crap, all of the stories going between dojos, the lack of support, the fact that me and Mo were kind of like Ronin at that time. We were not really part of a dojo. I was trying to be part of the Akatafal dojo. And the 2015 is a very sad world tournament for me. Not 100% because, you know, I'm happy I've been there. I'm glad I've been there. But it's very sad the lack of support we had. And I know that's going to sound like, you know, I'm complaining about a lot of things, but you have to realize someone listening from outside and someone from inside is it's going to be totally different. So a lot of people will be like, yeah, but I don't really agree with that. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay not to agree with what I'm saying. Cool. But it doesn't mean you're right because you were not there. You were not part of it. Right? So most of the fighters that were there, I will give you just 3 names because I don't want to speak for all the others. I will speak for Mo, myself, and Simon Deguerre. Do you know Simon Deguerre?
Yeah, I've heard of him. A nice, amazing person, apparently.
Amazing person, but freaking strong middleweight fighter. Yeah. And we were really looking forward to that tournament, but you could see that it was something that we built between us, the 3 of us. It was not something related to the Kyokushin community. It was not something related to the dojos. And no, we had to do our own training on our own. We used to train with Dominique Adam at back in the days, CrossFit Lucien. I don't know if it still exists, but yeah, we would train from time to time, you know, in Tiger Gym, Reynolds private gym. So we had to do everything on our own. And you could see the lack of commitment towards that team. Not from us, obviously, from anyone who was outside. And the thing that struck me the most is that we were the only guys with no jacket, team jacket. And that sounds really weird. Someone hearing that would be like, it's just, you know, why do you need a jacket? Well, shut the F up. That's the first thing. Shut the F up. All right? Shut the hell up. All right.
Yeah.
Like, this is, to be honest, this is, you know, shut the hell up. It just shows you that there's no unity in that team. When everyone else is coming wearing like gear, you know, Australia, Spain, name it, all the countries were there anyways. But the Canadian team had no jacket. To me, it speaks for itself. It speaks for itself. It says everything. If we are not united, you know, how do you expect us to do anything after that? And that's why the training was mostly done between Mo, Simon Deguerre, and I for the whole training camp. It was a crazy training camp, though. It was a crazy training camp. We had a lot of trainings to attend. We had a lot of places to be. We had to train a lot. And yeah, I think results were not bad. I mean, you know, it's easy to pinpoint someone and say he lost. But if you've seen the fights, everybody did pretty well, man. Pretty well. Yeah, it was, yeah.
It was, I mean, look, you know, the IKO1, they have killers. I mean, guys like Gemma, Ewerton, Navarro, Darman, you know, you know, and that's the thing too. Like, I hate, like, people don't know these guys, like in other organizations. And it's disgusting. Like, if you really call yourself a true Kyokushin, like, what's the word? Like, someone who knows, like, you know, those names I just rang off. Like,
yeah. I'm really surprised a lot of names don't like show up. I hear a lot of people talking about Kyokushin, and when I hear some names, dude, and with all due respect, even like, I'm not talking like as if I was someone, I'm nobody, but I'm just saying, dude, like, if you don't know who's Darman, if you don't know who's Kapanadze, if you don't know who's Lechi, what can I say to you? You don't know much. That's just the way it is. That's life. And, you know.
There was, I mean, there was like, I'm not going to give names, but when I was having a conversation with this one Xi'an who has like a tournament in the US, trying to, you know, build up this guy, and he was trying to talk to me like about, you know, like about Mo fighting him. And I was like, do you really think your guys, it's like, do you really think your guys are going to stand a chance against Mo? oh, well, they're gonna. I said, listen. I said, the experience that these former IKO guys have, like I said, whether it's Mo, like I even mentioned your name, like I said, like our friend Tarik who's fought with him. Your guys don't stand a chance, and I'm not trying to say it to like boost your ego, Tarik or Mo's, but the truth is, like, you guys have seen the best of the best, and that says something. That's something money can't buy. That experience.
Yeah, money can't buy it, definitely, and you can't like you can't make a replicate that or duplicate that experience. And the truth is, like it or not, you can always train as hard as you want in the gym, but when you face a monster, it's just on another level. You do realize that, if you go bench press a plate, then go from that plate straight to 2 plates, dude, you're just gonna get like crushed. You're just gonna go down and never lift again. And that's the thing. That guy that you're talking about, I don't remember his name, but I remember you talking about it. And to be honest with you, I don't care about who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just cocky statements, man. Yeah.
I just don't like it when you start trying to make those statements when you don't like when you don't do some fact checking and history of like who these guys have fought, because experience is everything, and that makes you a better fighter. Like, that's the thing, and IKO one, like, let's be real, you guys were part of the best organization. Like, the stories I've heard, like, in order to, like, for example, like when Mo went to go train with Navarro in Costa Rica,
Yeah.
like, apparently he had to go through permission of
Yeah.
Gorai. Like, it's like a real like corporation, like
It
how
is.
IKO was run.
It is. It is. It's scary. Like, it's scary. Like, that's why, like, I'm always being like really extra careful when it comes to talking about like who's good or who's not, because you'd be surprised what's happening behind the scene. Like, once you lift that curtain, there's a lot of things happening. Could be in Quebec. Could be like, you hear a lot of stories, and it's no need to tell them. But yeah. And speaking about Mo, like, yeah, that's one thing I didn't like about. I mean, there's nothing wrong with thinking you're gonna beat someone. There's nothing wrong. But to be cocky enough to say you're gonna beat him, it pisses me off.
It does too
There's
for me.
nothing wrong with trying to beat Mo. It's okay. It's normal. It's not nothing wrong with saying that you want to fight someone. But that cockiness that comes from the Quebec Kyokushin just kills me. Or even like a little bit of Canadian. It's just insane. There are levels to this game, like literally levels to this game when it comes to fighting. And a lot of people don't realize the difference between a fight and a fight. You might be the champion of Saint-Sulpice, brother, but it doesn't freaking matter. Get my point. I'm not, no disrespect. I'm just saying you could be a champion and lose to someone who never won a fight, but that person fought with stronger people, and that person comes from a harder school, right? And that's the problem nowadays with social media. You get a medal, just like, show it, I got a medal, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that.
It's crazy. But that 2015 team, though, I mean, yeah, there was a lot of clout that happened because, what was going on. Because, like, basically, like, you and Mo became basically independent. But what was really nice to see, though, is, like, there's a picture, like, when Mo posted that photo of, like, wishing you happy birthday. Like, what was really nice to see was at least you guys had support from Xian Ray and also Xian Pierre. And that's what I like about those men, because, I mean, I wish I met Xian Ray. But what I like about Xian Pierre too is no nonsense. Like, he's not gonna he doesn't care. Like, he's there to mold champions. He's not there to give in to people's gossip. And I'm glad to see that, like, at least there was some form of bonding and brotherhood with you, Simon, Mo, and like the Xians and senseis that were willing to support you no matter what. That's the most important thing to me.
Yeah. Shen Pierre Catafort is definitely from another world when it comes to Kyokushin. He knows it, he understands it, he's seen it from close, and that's why, like right away, I fell in love with the dojo when I was in Boucherville. I just fell in love with it. It was just great. I loved it. The ambience, the respect that's going on in that dojo, like the fact that he cares about everyone, not just a single person, but everybody. So everybody has a chance, and everybody can be whatever they want to be, and that makes a big difference in a dojo. So if you ever go to a Boucherville class and you look at the class, just look at how people are standing, you're gonna understand the meaning of real work. And probably I would say real Kyokushin. Because I haven't seen Xianpia for a long time, but I can tell you that whenever you go to his dojo, you know it's straight in a good way. Everybody's following in a good way. Everybody's doing things in a good way. And I am pretty confident in saying that he's not judging other dojos, of course, but he's whatever is left of Kyokushin right now in Quebec. Whatever is left from that like separation, whatever survived. Because don't get me wrong, like I don't think the fact that he's with Nakamura right now is because he just wanted to change. In a way, there's a big picture. You have to be able to see the whole picture.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever is left from that destruction, I think is still alive with Pierre Catafan right now. Yeah.
He's a true historian. Like he's a true source of history. Like, for example, like when I wanted to talk to him about like why do Shians wear the red jackets, the black jackets, and the white jackets, calls me up, takes 15 minutes, like, and he explains it to me like a history teacher what it meant. Like he really is like a primary source of Quebec Kyokushin history, and that's why like I have no problem going to bat for him any day. Like that man, as you said, a real leader is someone who looks at every individual and realizes that they bring a skill. Because I'll never forget it. I took his mentality and applied it to when I had to mentor 2 new hires. I quoted him. I said, "Listen, guys," I said, "I'm not only teaching you stuff, but you're teaching me stuff because I'm learning how you guys work." And that's the mentality that people should have outside the dojo. If more people had that, I think we would see more union and more iron sharpening iron and more cohesiveness.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Nakamura Kyokushin is going to take over Quebec, obviously. I don't know how others are going to survive. I'm not saying that what should happen because everybody has freedom of choice.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that eventually what happens is that if you want your things to be legit, I guess you just have to follow the big dog eventually. And yeah, Nakamura is definitely the big dog. I guess I don't even know if there's still an IKO dojo. I'm pretty sure there is 1 or 2, but it doesn't matter.
I don't even know. I mean, I support. I mean, ever since I had some of Nakamura's schools on my show, I mean, they're like my biggest supporter, which I'm forever appreciative for. So
I love their approach. Yeah,
I love it too.
I think it's very hard for us because we kind of like love the old school IKO, but
they bring some semblance. Hey, I saw you were training with Nick Nick Pettis, man. That's quite an accomplishment. What was that? How did that happen?
Yeah, that's everything thanks to Etienne. You've seen probably like I've been hanging out with Etienne Doré a lot. It was unexpected actually. It was not something that I thought of. I never thought it would happen. It was not to say accidental. I guess it was just part of destiny. Moving, I was really far from Tokyo for a long time. And then as I got closer, I was like, damn it, Etienne is not that far from here. So I'm just going to get closer to him. So I give him a call. Hey, what's up? We just talk and everything. And then as I go down, he said, just come to the gym. Let's have a training. So I had a CrossFit training. It felt good and everything. And then bam, like, yo, you know Nick? And I was like, who's Nick? Like Nick Pettis. I was like, dude, yeah, of course I know Nick Pettis. I grew up watching his videos. Obviously, if you ask Mo, like me and Mo, like watched 1,000 highlights about like these guys, whether it be like Nick, Filio, or you know the big names, Fetosa, Lechi,
Andy.
Andy Hogg and everything. And everyone. So I'm like, I meet him and I see like just this huge guy just there, but he was really like, just, I don't know. I didn't think of it that way at first. I was like, I'm glad to meet him actually. I'm a big fan, I grew up watching you. And then I just saw like this CrossFit coach, and, one thing after another is like, guys, let's have a fighter training. I'm like, okay, like, why not? So like Etienne is laughing and like he's looking at me. He said, yo, but see you next week. Let's train. And just started, man. Like just one time, training after training after training is like this thing is growing bigger. I mean, I don't want to talk too much. It's just, this thing is growing bigger. It's great. Um, dude's a beast. Dude is a beast. So I don't feel like that's what I'm telling you. It sucks. Like I'm not dissing anyone. I'm just saying there are level to this thing, and
There are.
that guy is just a beast. Yeah.
Like for me, I want to meet Sam. Like, I mean, you met Nicholas Pettis because you said you like, I like you said you like watching him. For me, I want to meet Sam Greco. That's the guy that I
Yeah.
love from K1. Like I like Slam and Sam is my favorite guy from Kyokushin and obviously Andy Hook, but Sam has like that. He has my personality where he's just like carefree, doesn't really
Yeah.
like nice guy. A
And
lot of
that
legends.
era was amazing. That K1 era had fighters, man, from Andy to Filio to Greco to anyone to Jean Le Banel. That's insane, man.
Do you follow Ishii Kancho on Instagram? Because he has an Instagram page.
Uh, that's funny you talk about him because recently he's been like showing up a lot on my Instagram feed. He's like left and right. I'm like, I think he just got back into business in a way. I think so. Don't get me wrong, but I think he just got back into business. He's like just posting a lot of things. So we might see things, happening eventually. But yeah, I see a lot of his stuff. Yeah.
His content that he has archived from K1, like just everything is like, it's so beautiful to see. Like I was finding out like Mick Thompson, I mean, you see me host guys like Darren Stringer and Wesley.
Yeah.
Like Mick Thompson from Europe was like the man in Europe at the time, and he fought Andy Hug, and it was like, Jesus, it's like these guys are so high level.
It is. It is an insane level that a lot of people are not ready for.
No.
And that's why like being here just like kind of like shadows everything else. You're like, oh, so that's what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about, right? The level is so different. Obviously, I'm not in their weight class, so probably never fight heavyweight, but still, God, man, those guys were beasts, and I think there still are. A lot of guys actually come back to Japan for training. Some guys have gyms. I was in Nagoya not long ago, and I've seen like Ernesto Hust had a gym there.
Wow.
Yeah, I think most of the K1 fighters have, and I still have contact. I mean, still hold a strong bond with Japan. So I'm pretty sure like some of them left something before leaving. Some would leave a gym. Some would leave like a business piece, just to make sure they always keep that, bond between them and Japan. But yeah, that era. Whew.
It was crazy. Hey, another thing too, because like, because one thing like when we began the show, you were born in Algeria. So
Yeah.
how is it that like your English got so good? Like, what was like what do you think it helped? That was it like cartoons on Saturday mornings or?
God, man, I have no idea. To be honest with you, it's kind of crazy. I have no idea, no knowledge, no remembrance of it. I've traveled a lot. I mean, I've been abroad a lot around, let's say, the world, but so many countries. Eventually, you need to hype up your game. But damn it, I have no idea, to be honest with you. Like, if you ask me, then just ask me like how. Obviously, I don't know, man. I just know. I mean, I grew up watching YTV.
Me too.
So Dragon Ball Z and GT. So, what do you want me to say? I had to understand what Trunks was saying at that time.
Oh man, I loved it when they came. So for Dragon Ball Z, I don't like now, like for those, like for anyone who's going to listen to this, obviously, like anime is like a big reason why people get into martial arts. Bro, when they brought the Trunks saga, when they got the Trunks saga to North America, that commercial, that old Funimation commercial where it just shows Trunks' name flashing and you see like just Trunks, you don't know who he's fighting, you don't know what's going on. I was like, oh, that's my guy, man. Yeah. That's my guy. Future Trunks, not the Trunks in the Buu saga or GT. Future Trunks.
The 90s were so amazing. I keep saying, and I know it sounds like, an old record because everybody's going to say his era was good. But 90s was amazing. Like after just watching like The Last Dance, I was like, God, I wish I could go back in time. It felt like it was so much simpler. And you had all those good things, man, all those amazing cartoons, all the amazing food. Like, everything felt so great, man. Yeah, you're right, man. Those Dragon Ball episodes back then, YTV, I think 8 p.m., Dragon Ball GT.
Oh, the best was when they had Gundam Wing come on, because like people never understood why I loved Gundam. So there was that for me. For me, it was DBZ. Gundam Wing. And then when I go to the US to see my dad in Jersey, because we had Cartoon Network and Toonami,
Yeah.
they had, so I would see stuff in advance before I came to Canada, because it took
Yeah.
like, so it's like I used to come home and I used to tell people like at my school, like, guys, guess what I saw on Dragon Ball Z? Like, this is what's gonna happen. And this
Yeah,
is
it's just a liar, just making up stuff, like you're a crazy. And then next, or like me 2 months later, they see that. Yeah, yeah,
uh,
Americans were way in front of us. Like, dude, Canada was slow for a long time.
oh man, like the same, like I used to have to go if I wanted like certain Pop Tart flavors that you see on like
Yeah,
say on like fucking Fox Kids in the morning, and then you go to Plattsburgh to get it because it's not available in Quebec. You come back and people are like, "What kind of Pop Tart is this? This is Hot Fudge Sundae Pop Tart." Oh, how
yeah,
did you get it? Oh, I went to the U.S. It's
yeah. Fox Kids. Yeah, I remember, man. I remember back then, dude. I remember like there was no like digital what do you call it, fiber, right? It was not a fiber thing. It was more like it was an antenna, right? We used like antenna,
antenna,
like,
yeah, antenna, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Then it'd be like 36 for Fox Kids and 44 for YTV, dude. I was like, oh, damn it. Screw everything else.
Oh
Everything else. Screw
man,
it.
dude, and earlier in the morning there was like Kids WB with like Pokemon,
Yeah, yeah.
and then like another show, and then Fox Kids began. Then they brought like I think when we were like 10, that's when we stopped watching. Like, as it changed from like Fox Kids to like the Fox Box, and then after that, like they just went really weird. It was like, yeah, this is.
Yeah, well, things started changing as we got closer to 2000 and then 2005. I think,
Mhm.
to me, in my opinion, 2005 was a big, big change, and then 2010 is definitely when things really start changing
Yeah,
a lot. I think the whole world changed. Not to get into too much into details, but yeah,
yeah.
things
Oh,
have
I
changed
agree.
a lot, a lot. I'm not sure for the best, but yeah.
For me, okay, for me, the best year of anime for North America, for me, the pinnacle in North American anime was 2003, because that's when YTV got like, they had Gundam, they had Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z. They brought in Knights of the Zodiac, Saint Seiya's. You remember?
Naruto,
Naruto came in 2005.
2005. How about Bleach? 2005 too.
Bleach, I recall, was 2005 or like early 2006.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, but I got fed up of TV eventually. Like once you get through that and you find out how to watch shows online,
It
dude, I just
changes the
like
game.
sub it. Yeah, I just like sub it. So my English experience is not very long because I found out about like sub. And the
Mm.
Japanese voices are like, fuck English. Like, don't speak to me in English anymore. Like, screw that language. I want to speak Japanese now.
I mean, I can't. I mean, certain animes I have to watch with the Japanese and then English subtitles. It just feels
Yeah,
better. The dubs are just.
it does. Yeah.
It's so bad. Like right now, I'm watching the original Mobile Suit Gundam because it's on Netflix. Like the first
Yeah.
three movies, so it's
Yeah.
only in Japanese. I'm like, perfect. This is actually authentic.
Yeah, yeah. Well, to be honest with you, not to bash English, but French has a better dubbing than Japanese. And the reason why I think is because French pay more attention to the Japanese culture than English people. And not to say English people, but Americans like to put their own stuff
Hmm.
whenever but French people really pay attention to what's happening, within the Japanese culture, and that's why I think the French dubbing is way better when it comes to like how original it is and authenticity about it. Yeah, dude, God, good times.
Oh, good. They really were. And when it comes to MMA now, I mean, I know like now it's kind of like now the golden era of MMA is basically done because now like after George left, it was kind of never the same after. But like, is there like any current fighters you have that you like right now, at least that you'll kind of wake up for to watch, like if it's like a big fight?
Oh yeah, yeah. There still are a lot of fighters that I would watch. The problem with UFC is just like sometimes the cards are not stacked enough. So when you give a lot of time for an UFC event, you expect a lot of fights. So the problem right now, I think, is that you get like only one big fight, and the rest is just like to feed your hunger a little bit, kind of like appetizer, right? And that's the problem with me. But yeah, a lot of fighters are amazing to watch. Well, actually, Derek is going to fight Cyril.
Hmm.
I think that's going to be good. I hope that's going to be good. Style Bender, obviously. Dude,
Yeah,
Style Bender
obviously
is gonna
everyone loves Izzy. I mean,
yeah.
for me, it's I love Usman. He's grown on me.
Really, I'm not. No, I mean, I have nothing against him. I just not my style of I mean, I guess my problem is his personality. Doesn't
Okay.
match his skills. His skills are like on a different level. He's a beast, but he just doesn't get through me. I like lightweights. I like lighter weights actually. It used to be like we like heavier guys because it was wilder, but as we go on, I think like I prefer like smaller weights like bantam and all this kind of stuff. You know, I mean, it's a lot of fun, exciting. Yeah.
Perfect. Makes sense. Makes sense. That makes sense. And what, and like also Habib, I'm sure, because Habib, the way he left, like, because that must have really, like, you know, changed, like that, the way he left was like beautiful, like to leave 29-0.
Yeah, the fact that he left because his mother asked him to, I think, is a good wake-up call for anyone who's fighting eventually. I guess it's not related to your age. It's not related to your skills. It's not related to how good you are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's very hard for me. I don't know. I think I told you once, but Mo knows that about me. It's really hard for me to talk about fighting with people. Because it's very easy to just start talking about something you don't realize that you don't know about. It's just few people understand the sacrifices we go through and a lot of things that you have to give up on in order to just step in the ring or in the tatami for a few minutes. And the fact that he left, I think, is the best thing to do because, you know, no matter how successful you become fighting, you'll never get back that time. It doesn't matter if you die as a samurai or not. You're dead, you're dead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Damn it sucks to say, but you die, you're dead. And for me, if you realize how much sacrifices does a fighter do in his life in order to just step in the ring or a tatami, just by realizing that, you changed your perspective and you feel different towards them and you respect them probably more than what you think. And the reason why is because we left so much behind us in order just to step in that ring. And I'll never forget a conversation I had with someone. I don't know if you know her. She's from Boucherville. Really love that girl. Emily Provo.
I've heard the name.
Yeah. She was a fighter back then. I remember she was always fighting with one of the ladies from our dojo back then. And it was like always like, you know, that hate relationship we had between two dojos, right? We were kind of like groomed to hate each other, which didn't work at the end because we didn't care. Mo and I just F everybody, you know, screw everyone. But and I remember we did not say much. We just looked at each other. We didn't say much. I just finished 2015 World Tournament and she was tired too. She had she has experience that you can't imagine. She's been fighting since she was a kid. And we just looked at each other. We just said a few words and it meant everything to me. Like, it's hard to realize how much we put aside in order to go there. And how much sacrifices we had to do just to get there. We had to give up on our friends, on our social life, on our free time, on the things that we love, and that that itself for me is worth more than anything when it comes to personality. It really means a lot to me. It's hard for me to have a real conversation with someone that did not feel that way, or that did not feel the loss, or that did not go through the sacrifices.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when I hear names, sometimes I'm like, I'm not being disrespectful. I don't know, and I don't know who that person is. Or when like just not say a normal person, that sounds so rude. When someone who doesn't fight comes up to me and start talking about fighting, I'm not hyped about talking about it. Because you don't understand what I'm going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You might understand what a punch is, a kick is, who's good, who's not, but you don't understand what people go through. And that's why, if you notice, the fighting community has become toxic. You know, it has become toxic because people judge fighters. You get judged by someone who's like sitting on a couch eating chips and just telling you you're this and that or we're not. You know, that's a big difference in Japan. In Japan, it's really different, and that's the thing that got me hooked to Japan. If you're a fighter, you're respected as a fighter, you're a real deal, you're a samurai, that's it, that's all. Win or lose, this is who you are. You know? Don't like, you know, dick ride the people that only win, and then when they lose, you call them shit, and then that's not what you want to be. That's not what you want. you be with someone through wins and losses. That's how you're gonna be helpful, man. Yeah.
That's amazing. So what do you feel is the future for you, like with kickboxing and now like with like any form of martial art? Like what do you hope the future holds for you as like now that you're 31 and what like how do you see your window in terms of like competing?
I'm praying for a few years. I pray God for a few years to grant me a few extra years.
Mm-hmm.
Never forget that health can always come up and things can always come up. It's pretty hard right now to get into fights due to the COVID situation.
Yeah.
So they're gonna, pick a few guys for fights, and obviously the foreign guy might sadly be last when it comes to picking someone.
Mm-hmm.
My last fight was canceled. I remember March 1st, 2020.
Oh, shit, that's when it first
Yeah,
started. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
first started. It was canceled. After that, a lot of guys and a lot of people were really upset about like all the cancellations and stuff like that. I trained a lot for that fight. It was canceled. Kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth and like, God damn it. And since that, obviously, like training became really hard. I mean, if you remember, go back in time, like maybe a little bit more than a year, let's say year and a half or so ago, everybody was scared of dying. Me the
Mhm.
first. When all that thing started, I was like one of the first saying, dude, I'm going to die or someone I love is going to die. So obviously nobody's concern was like, nobody was focusing on training at that time. That's why there's a window after COVID, you'll see less fights because actually nobody cared about fighting at that time. Everybody was thinking about their health. And now that it's running again, I'm really hoping for fights eventually. If not here, obviously, I miss my family. I miss my friends. I'd love to spend some time back home. I don't know how it's going to happen. Things are not easy. But yeah, I hope for some, a few years of fighting. I still have it. I still train. I still think I can rock people, obviously, in kickboxing. I'd love to fight in Kyokushin again. I mean, me and Mo always say we still have one last dance for
One
Kyokushin.
last dance. There has to be, and I want
We
to be
still
there for
have
it.
one last dance. So I was approached for Kyokushin. I was approached for kickboxing. Now all that's left is getting ready, getting set, tracing your line, and after that, things happen. Nothing to worry about.
Awesome. I love the faith you have, and it's honestly like I really enjoy doing this. It was like, and I hope you enjoyed it too. I mean, for your first, was this the first podcast you've done?
Yeah, first ever. Yeah,
Wow. Feels how'd you feel about it?
dude, no stress at all. I just there's a lot of things there's a lot of things to talk about. This
Yeah.
life is amazing. There's a lot of things to share and love it. Yeah.
Life is amazing, and I think honestly, like I feel like I found my tribe, so to say, in martial arts. Like thanks to martial arts, like it's like for the first time in my life, like ever since I befriended Mo, like I met amazing people like you, Shian Pierre, Sensei Joanne, Senseis Darren and Wesley, Sensei Pat, Shian Cameron, and Justin. Like it's like it's nice to finally have like that community like backing you. Like it means so much. Like when
Yeah,
they
that's
when
great.
people like they see you for who you are and they vouch for you. Like that's what I love about this community, man. Like I mean, look, put the politics aside. My goal is to just raise the bar. I just want to do what Sosai and Hanshi Arniel
Great,
envision.
yeah, and that's I really appreciate it, I guess, because a lot of people have no voices when it comes to karate or martial arts, and that's great that you're doing that because you're giving an opportunity to people to speak up. We always heard the same people forever and forever, forever. There's so many guys or girls behind the scene who have a lot of things to say, a lot of things to share, a lot of people who need help, support, or push. A lot of people who are waiting just for a moment to say a word or two. So yeah, that's great, man. That's the purpose of it, I guess, and that's great.
Awesome. Well, Tarik, just to conclude it here, I mean, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for coming on. I
My
think
pleasure.
this episode I hope does well. Like, I mean, with like we're gonna make sure to push it because I think you have a lot to offer and say based on your story. Where can people find you on social media just so they can we can get the support going?
Um,
Because
I'm usually using Instagram It's really rough. I don't know. I'm not an Instagrammer. I guess like it requires a lot of work. I just can't do that work. I try so hard, but yeah. So like at Tarek_kick. That's my Instagram. I post a few things from Japan, and you see like a lot of training stuff when I meet people. It's always amazing to be able to share. I guess for those who know uh, with who I train or with the people that I know, can I kind of understand? If not, you know, it's life. You know, you don't fame will come to you. You don't go to fame. So
I love that. I love that approach. That's how I look at it. Like you just got to take it as it is, you know?
yeah, you take it as it is. I mean, you don't force things. Do your best, and after that, why get yourself crazy or why make yourself sick about things that you can't control? You know, if you can get whatever you wanted, that's great. If you can't, just do something else or keep pushing for whatever you love, and that's it. I mean,
Yeah, super true. Well, hey man, thanks so much for doing this once again. And
so,
the episode will be up in about it's going to be up next week probably. So guys, make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment when it's up, because we got to raise the bar and support our own.
thanks a lot, guys.